Hello everybody, this is Trina. I am very excited to be able to bring you guys a scrapbook page that includes a general theme and pictures. So this is Jotaro, my son's one of my son's favorite anime characters from, I think it's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. He loves that. Or loved that show. I don't know if he still does, but last Halloween, that's who he wanted to be for school dress up day. And so I tried to make it happen as best I could with gold foil paper and, paper and staples and glue. It worked out pretty good. It did end up pretty good. So he liked it. He was happy, and that was the main point. So, yeah, this layout is a fly by the seat of your pants. Just kind of, I stuffed everything from last Halloween into a bag, and it's been sitting on my desk since. So I was like, okay, well, I think it's probably time that I pull this out and actually get it up off my desk, because I have the pictures printed. There's no excuse. Just get her done. So, I was kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do, because I have, like, you could see a lot of the triangle pieces there were from me cutting out the pieces for his belt. If you look at the belt in the pictures, it's kind of hard to see because they're moving so much, but there's a yellow piece with orange triangles on it, and then there's a blue piece with pink triangles on it. And so it's like a double belt. And so that was kind of what I was trying to recreate. So, um, yeah, so that's where what I was planning on using, and I do use some of them. I don't use as near as many as I have, so I do kind of donate those to the recycle, because I'm not going to use those colors on anything else, and I don't have any other pictures of, Halloween for, uh, that I want to commemorate that particular outfit. So I did pull, like, when he was done with the outfit or the costume, I pulled some of the buttons off and the little pieces of his hat and stuff like that that I could use um, for this page. So I was thinking about using this cutout piece where I cut the triangles out, and kind of breaking it apart, which I could have used that way, but the way I end up using it is like a stencil. And then I was like, wait a minute, I don't know that I want this all over the place, so I decided to, I figured that out once I've mixed this up and gotten it nice and thin again. So just got to add some water to my texture paste. And I do actually go ahead and use it white, and I do add in a color as well. And but I definitely have to mix it, because from the last time I used it, it had not dried out, but it was a lot drier than it's supposed to be. So, and those little hands are my nephew. He's living up here now, so with us. So, yeah, he'll probably be in a couple more videos, probably a lot more videos, but hopefully when the kids get out of school, he'll be a little bit more distracted, and I'll be able to do a real-time scrapbook layout or something. I don't know. I might just have to stick to the voiceovers. My computer program does not like to do voiceovers. It likes to pause and freeze, or like this last one, I got completely through it and then it just disappeared. Like, no, it disappeared. I have to do a whole nother voiceover. So here I am, second voiceover for the same video. But, at least I get to share this process with you guys. So I decided that I could totally bring in, oh my goodness, I could totally bring in this kind of Aztec-y vibe one, but I think I'm just gonna go ahead and use the chevron, and I cut these from page dividers that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I just cut them on my silhouette, and it worked out pretty great. So as you can see, I have two different styles of chevron here. And the reason I chose the chevron was because I kind of wanted to keep the angle look that the triangles bring in. And so I stick with those, and then I just kind of turn it and pull it up, because I knew that I had a large vertical photo and then a small square photo. So I wanted to kind of just keep that in an L pattern. And then once I got it down, I was like, well, that's a little too square. Even though it's the chevron, it's very straight because I had a certain amount of space. I had a certain amount of space to use on that page, or that stencil page. So I decided it's a little on the square side, so just added whatever I had on my palette, and just kind of spread out any thicker pieces. It just, to make it look not so uniform. I wanted it to be a little more organic. Not that chevrons aren't generally, organic, but that's kind of why I wanted to kind of smudge the edges. I just wanted to make sure that it didn't look quite so square. But I did want to make sure that it had some good background. So I am thinning this out a little bit more, getting more of it mixed up. And then I used my Bluebird ink pad to put some ink onto my little plastic piece over there, and I'm going to make this texture paste blue. And the Bluebird color matches perfectly with the paper, but once I add it to the texture paste, then I think I needed a little bit more to make it a darker, the more rich blue tone, but it didn't bother me. I was perfectly fine just using what I ended up with. I did have a little bit extra, which is fine. I don't have to use it all, so yeah. I didn't really have a plan for this page. I knew that I wanted the pictures on there, and I knew I wanted to use some of the stuff that he had on his actual costume. So those were kind of my main goals, and then this was all just kind of fly by the seat of my pants, play and enjoy myself kind of, vibe going on. So that is kind of what I did, and I really do like how it turned out. But as you can see, just trying to line things up, and it just seemed kind of like it needed something more, so I just added another triangle on there, or part of another triangle on there, and trying to clean everything up. And then I go ahead and clean that up, and clean my stencil and everything, and then I'm going to go ahead and dry it. And I'm going to flip it around from the back to the front, because whatever moisture was in there is going to soak into the paper, as well as evaporate. But so that I can dry the paste that's against the paper. If you dry the paper, it will kind of just evaporate whatever has soaked into the paper. So just a quick dry there, and then I go ahead and kind of, I don't even know what I'm going to do. At this point, I still thought I was using two of the small photos. One of the small photos is of him smiling with his hand out. And then the other one is of him not smiling with no hand out, and it has him, or the top of his hat, where it has the hand, the gold hand on there. And so I was like, I kind of want that on there, but I don't know. I Because I'm doing 8.5 by 11 pages with his album. I don't want to. I don't want to, clutter the page. So I could have done it like that, but it just felt like it was too much. So I ended up just going with one picture instead of two, or one of the small squares instead of two. Um, I'm probably going to have to do some, journaling on the back of some sort uh, to kind of, tell the story of how they sprung their Halloween costume ideas on me like 3 days uh, before their school day, their costume day at school. So yes, I got three. It was like, or maybe it was 2 days before. Uh, Three costumes in 2 days. So my youngest was the easiest. She had borrowed my daughter's from the year before. So that was kind of easy. But my daughter, my oldest daughter, she wanted to, I don't know what she wanted to be, but she ended up being like an elf princess. We even taped her ears and all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of exciting. But yeah, so now I'm adding in the triangles and just kind of figuring out that they're not exactly even. So, um, and they're not all the same size. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna work with it. And actually, I was very, very thankful that they were different sizes. So uh, I did end up using that to my benefit, which is awesome. I love when that. And I actually make some of these pink ones that are all the same size, and I cut them down eventually as well. So that made, I like being able to work with what you're given and, make it work for you instead of just like, oh, that's not going to fit. You just make it fit. Make it what you want it to be. That's one of the, perks of scrapbooking, right? Or crafting, paper crafting in general. So I'm going to go ahead and do, add the cluster up here at the top, right? And um, so yeah, I just kind of fiddle fart around with it, and then I start gluing things down. I This time I use a mixture of my liquid glass and my tape runner, and sometimes I regret using my liquid glass for, what I did use it for, but it's all right. It works. And I do end up using some gold in different places, so it kind of, makes a good balance in there too, not just having two pieces of gold, because that's just doesn't work for me. So yeah, this is where I use the chain. I use the chain that was hooked onto his lapel, and it's a paper chain, a gold foil paper chain. um, there's no way we could have come up with a chain that was that big, because that was kind of crazy as far as size goes. So, and heavy, heavy and crazy. Um, but as I said, I didn't go and buy anything for them for any of these costumes. They were all already ready. All stuff we had at home. Um, so that worked out okay. But I used one of those chains and I cut it up and just trimmed off the stapled edges and then cut it in half lengthwise. And then I was able to add it to the top and right hand side of the main photo. So that was kind of nice. And then I don't know if I added on that picture or not yet. I don't know that I did. So once I decide that I really do want that to stay right there, then I go ahead and put it down there. And I did move everything, and I usually take a picture so that I know exactly where everything is, but this time I just kind of wing it. It works somehow. I don't know exactly how, but I went ahead and I don't know how I broke that. I've never broken the tape in my tape runner before. So that was, oh, that was a whack on the camera. Sorry about that. Um, I've never done that before, so that was an interesting experience for me. But now I'm just fitting these on there to make it look like, you know, a piece that, a full piece. It looks like a full piece that goes behind there, but it's not. And that one wasn't exactly how that was before, but it works. It works. And then I decide, you know what, I want some foam tape. So give it some dimension. It worked. I like how it turned out. It worked pretty good. And I tried to push that back down, but it doesn't want to go back down. So I do think I end up gluing it, re-gluing it again. Once I put wet glue on there, I generally just stick with wet glue. I don't change to my any other glue, so. And then it's just about sticking the triangles down and figuring out exactly where I want them and what sizes I want where and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of what we're doing. I didn't want to bring the yellow in. There was yellow, a yellow belt with the orange triangles, and I didn't want to bring the yellow in because of the gold. The gold just looked, it would have, I don't know, I think it would have been too much. It would have been kind of like a crazy wild color layout if I had added the gold in there. So I just decided to forego the gold, or the yellow, I mean the yellow. But I also decided to add in some of the some foam to the triangles and stuff. So it gives those a little bit of dimension too, but not too much, so I kind of like that. And it kind of tucks that gold piece in too. It gives it a grounding spot, which is kind of nice. So I did try to keep like the orange triangles like the pointing up, and then the pink triangles pointing down. And I don't remember if that's how his belt was. Like, you know, I don't know which direction they pointed or anything like that. But I think it just gave it a little bit of a uniform look, since there was so much, you know, so much activity going on in the whole page in general. So, but as you can see, that blue worked out really well. I mean, it just gives it a little bit of a touch. The white isn't too much, but it's, you know, it gives it just a little bit of contrast, which is awesome. I mean, you do get a lot of contrast with the, ooh, I like that. So that's when I decided, you know what, let's just stick it down. You like it? Go for it. And then we gotta figure out, where did we have it? So, moved around a little bit, and then just decided to stick it down. This is where I use the chain to make triangles so that I can include some gold triangles as well as the gold buttons and the gold hand that was on his hat and stuff like that. So there wasn't actually any gold triangles anywhere in the costume, but I thought that added just a nice little, you know, shiny touch. I brought in the more triangles, you know, because that's kind of the theme here. And then it also brought in some more gold. So it helps, you know, tie in some more gold without making it, you know, like the circles were a little of a stretch. They only worked because it's in his costume in the first place. So So I did decide to put them in there just simply because it was part of his costume, but I think it turned out okay. I think the circles, I do kind of wish I had done another circle or part of a circle up top. Maybe, kind of trimmed one, like the corner of one or something. I don't know, but they just seemed so big. It just felt like too much, and I already had gold around the photo. So here I am turning on my phone so that I can double check the spelling of Jotaro. So, yeah, this is one of those words that my brain always wants to put the A first because A comes at the beginning of the alphabet. And so my brain always wants to say Jatoro, Jatoro instead of Jotaro. And so every time I always stumble over it when I first say it, I'm like, my mind is saying, A first, and then my brain is also, and then my brain says, no, it has an O first. So then I'm just like stumbling over it. My son's always correcting me on how to say it. It's like, okay, I just have to roll the J, Jo, because it sounds much better. I mean, Ja and Jo are definitely different. So, Jotaro. And, Jojo, Jo, Jo, Jotaro. I don't know. I'm trying to make it work so I can remember how to say it, but it's anime. It's going to be one of those interesting names. So, but yeah, that's. I think this was the only part of the entire layout that I knew or mostly knew how I wanted it to be. That was my original. When I saw that open spot there, that's the wall for my closet. I was like, that is like a perfect spot. When I was editing, I remember editing last year, and I was like, editing the photos, and I was like, that would be a perfect spot for the name. Uh, and it actually worked out just fine. And somehow I had these black thickers laying around that worked just fine too. So this, I don't even remember. I don't remember where I got this, when I got it. I got it ages ago, and I don't even remember. I don't even remember what it is, but I end it. I this he did not go to school on um, the 31st. Like their costume day was not the 31st, so I don't want it to be the 31st of October. So I decided to just kind of cover that part and then just do October. And then it was a little too long because they do it in a line instead of stacked. So I decided, you know what, I'll just stack it. So I'm going to put some ink on October. And this is my intense black ink, which is waterproof. And then I go ahead and stamp October, and then I go ahead and mask and then stamp 2018. Because that's when it was. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this off, and then I do actually go in search of something else because there's my thinking fingers. I'm not done yet. I know that I want to do something, I just don't know what it is, so that's when I decide, you know what, I'm just going to find some black dots because I usually have some type of shine other than, you know, but I didn't want it to be like gold because I already have gold on there, and I didn't want it to be silver because I don't do mixed metals very well. It's a struggle for me to do mixed metals. So, yeah, I just brought in some black enamel dots. I think you could still get these through Close to My Heart. If you're interested, I'll leave my link in the description box below. And this, yeah, I think, yeah, I thought I was done. And I was kind of explaining how I did anywhere I had a gold circle, I only did 2 enamel dots because I wanted to keep it in my, in the threes. And so I did just, and then up above the photo on the left hand side, I did 3 enamel dots because I didn't have any of the gold circles. So this is I decided, you know what, I kind of need to bring, like, involve this little picture. It's just kind of floating out there, not really, it doesn't even have it doesn't really have a purpose or a spot. It doesn't feel like it's home, like it's involved in the layout. It just feels like it's kind of, sitting on top. So that's when I decided to, bring in some triangles. Now, these triangles, I have a lot of triangles. So I wasn't really too worried about, trimming them down or using the smaller ones or anything like that, but I didn't want to do too much either because too much can be just as not enough. So I wanted to make sure that I included some triangles around that photo, but I didn't want to do it in a way that overwhelmed the photo or like kind of stole from the direction of the triangles that are already on the layout. So I hope that makes sense. Because if I put, some large triangles on this side over here, it's going to start pulling your eye that direction. And that's not where I wanted my eye, the eye to go. I wanted it to make sure it just kind of huddled around the photos because that's the main focus. So, and the second photo just highlights his smile. So, which, I don't always get him smiling, but he does smile a lot. So, yeah. So that's, kind of my theory on it. I did take a little bit of time to figure out exactly what I want. I cut down some of those pink ones to really smaller sized triangles, and then I just kind of figure out what I want where, and for the most part, I don't know if I do one more triangle or not. I might do another one down at the bottom of the photo. I'm not sure. We'll see. But evidently I'm talking to somebody, which might just be my nephew. Um, but I don't even know why I have this in there. But yeah, it's pretty much done. So I hope you guys enjoyed this layout, and I am so excited to be scrapbooking again. So, so if you like it, give me a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe, I'd love to have you, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for